What is going on, guys? It's your boy Az. We are back here with another War Tower Omega footage for you guys, and today we are going to be doing some footage here with regards to Cell 7. Cell 7 is another gatekeeper one for people that don't have, for example, like Odin, Xavier, or maybe they want to save, maybe they only have one of them, maybe they have Odin, but they want to save Odin for later on. And yeah, we'll go through some different teams that we can use here, including Odin and Xavier, but also teams that don't include the two of them. And I'll start off with those ones just so it saves you guys a bit of time, so you guys don't have to go through the whole footage to look for it. But I will throw those ones at the beginning. And of course, as well, like I said, this is kind of the gatekeeper one that leads into the second one, which is like this crazy infamous Cell number 8 with the crazy Phoenix Force and Super Skrull. And yeah, it's just absolutely insane. Only right now, there's only kind of been two teams that have been able to solve it, which is the Phoenix Force plus the Undying, and it's combinations of those guys that have been able to do it. And then of course as well, if you're able to get through those two pesky ones, then of course you have access to a lot easier sections, right? I personally, in my opinion, I find 9 and 10 much easier than 7 and 8. So if you're able to get to Cell 9, you can work through it with Fantastic Four and plus other like Quasar, Odin, whoever. And then of course Cell 10, you can pretty much use your, you can use your Brimstone. There's some other alternatives. I used the Quasar Night Stalker combo. That's what I did. And then of course as well, yeah, I think personally, I feel like they're going to bring this War Tower back. They're going to bring it back because they've put so much work into it. And there's no way they're just going to run it for the 2 weeks and then call it a day. They've put way too much, planning and thinking and of course as well kicking our butts in the process. So I do feel like this War Tower is going to be coming back. So hence why I want to kind of get some videos out for you guys, whether or not it's now or whether or not it's later. Then at least you guys have that information and you guys can use it later on when the War Tower does come back. Again, you can say, oh, you're wrong, as it didn't come back, and I'll totally be accountable for that. But I personally feel like it's definitely going to come back because they still need ways to give us the other materials for his awakened passive and for his special as well. So there's going to be some inputs there, but anyways, let's quickly jump into the roster here. I don't want to waste your guys' time any further. We'll take a look at the roster on the characters that I'll use, and then if the teams don't suit your guys' needs, then you guys don't have to waste your entire time watching the entire video. But I do really hope that these alternative teams help you guys out here in terms of solving Cell number 7. And then if you solve 7, hopefully maybe you can work on 8. And if you can't work on 8, at least getting 7 will still get you some extra rewards that you wouldn't have been able to get anyways. So let's jump into the roster here. Okay, so let's jump into the roster here so you guys can see what I'm going to be using. But again, if these teams don't work out, then of course, yeah, don't follow my guide. And if this kind of impacts the way that you're going to climb on the tower as well, also don't follow this because, yeah, it was just some alternatives that I thought of. And I haven't seen too much footage on Cell 7, so hence why I wanted to do it for you guys. And of course as well, I wanted to do it with some non-Xavier, non-Odin teams. So again, Cell number 8, we're going to start us off with basically this Night Stalkers Old Man Logan combo with Mercs for money and Quasar. This will get the job done here fairly easy without Odin or Xavier. Second team, we use basically full Brimstone with Quasar, and again, gets the job done here fairly easy, fairly straightforward. And then, yeah, and then that's then we'll lead into the Odin comps with Absolute. You don't necessarily need to have the Absolute super built up, but it's more so their passives and their abilities are important. Kahori being a key piece to this team. Miss Marvel, also very key because she's the big tank. But yeah, as you guys see there, my Medusa is only 95. And then we'll slot in some random fifths so you guys can kind of see that there is some flexibility. And last and finally, an Xavier team here in the mix is basically we're going to be running Xavier plus 4 X-Men. This is going to be great because if you want to save like your Brimstone, if you want to save your mercenaries like Old Man Logan, if you want to save some of those other key characters, this is the team to do it with. And then maybe you can use Odin on the later sections there. But yeah, this one is quite nice because we are using a lot of raid-oriented characters, as well as the fact that we can save, like I said, we can save our Brimstone, we can save our Quasar, we can save a lot of other key teams if you plan to push higher on the tower. And that's kind of it there. And also, whoops. Also, as you guys can kind of see here, pretty much everybody is around 105 tier 19. Other than Medusa, I think everybody else is tier 19 or tier 20 at 105. So that right there is kind of the minimum, I'd say. And a couple stragglers, like I said, Panda Pool is 100. We've got Medusa at 95. And yeah, so unfortunately, yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes with this high-end tower climbing. But yeah, hopefully helps you guys out. And let's quickly get into the gameplay of things. Okay, so starting things off with our Brimstone team. And again, this actually works out great because I know that a lot of people have been kind of complaining that you can't really use Quasar for anything. So Quasar would be a good sub here. And the only drawback, again, is the fact that if you use Daemon here, you will not be able to use him later on. But if you can't get through the Undying section anyways, it really doesn't matter. So for this one here, we just throw the stun wherever. That way you can get a striker hit from the Hellcat. But as well, keep in mind the bleeds and everything just kind of help get the board across for us. And yeah, Living Mummy is going to be very big here. Position Daemon next to him because I've tried everybody else and everybody kind of just dies. Quasar is good as well, but we want to keep Quasar healthy. So just keep that in mind when you guys are doing positioning. And then, yeah, what you want to do is you want to do the special here so we can get some heals and some safeguard and some defense up, back up. That's important because we need to survive some of the barrages. And the only way to do that is if we use some defense up action and some heals. So that's not going to work out if you guys don't do that. And yeah, as you already seen here, these guys hit pretty awful, pretty hard. And if you don't have the right teams, absolutely insanity, right? Even going in with Professor Xavier or Odin, it's not a complete cakewalk. So finding solutions like this really helps, I think, help people at least get the most out of these rewards, even when they're unrealistic, right? And if you guys do get through this one, and it helps you guys out, maybe you can get further and get through the Undying section for, with RNG, and then yeah, hopefully you're able to get to the next one, and then you can use your Xavier, you can use your Odin. It's kind of the way it goes sometimes. So we just got to be smart with our positioning, and of course as well, this did take a couple of tries, but yeah, as with anything with RNG, that's the way it goes. So the next wave drops, and honestly, this is kind of like a baby Jeff. Not really a huge issue. So we can take care of the stragglers, and then yeah, you want to reposition and start focusing everything on Jeff. If Jeff takes one turn, it's gonna absolutely sting, and we'll see if he gets a turn or not. But luckily for us, Quasar is pretty massive here. Again, you don't even need to have Quasar with the ult awakened. He is solely here for the purposes of damage. So he's gonna use his thing. Watch this. Watch how much damage he does. Right, all on his own. Absolutely insanity. And of course as well, if we didn't have Hellcat blocking the extra speed, he would take another turn thanks to his time warp. And on top of that as well, Living Mummy, again, just like the Shadow King boss, just like all the other times we used him in Echoes of Abyss with Null, coming in large and in charge here. And yeah, just trying to pause here, make sure we don't cancel this out here so we can still do some footage. And yeah, and there you guys have it. That's the first set. This is the strategy here. Like I said, if you don't have Xavier, if you don't have Odin unlocked, this is going to be the go-to team. I'm going to have another one here. I've had some success with Mercs as well, Mercs for money. So we're going to switch gears here, and we'll switch into the next one. Okay, so the next one we're going to use Mercs, as I already alluded to, and you want to make sure that if you do use this team, do remember, right, what I said before. If it impacts the way that you're going to climb later on in the tower, say for example you need your Old Man Logan, because I use him later on in another section, then of course that may impact your decision to use either this team or maybe the Night Stalker's Quasar combo. But yeah, this also uses up our Quasar as well, so this is going to change things up, right? So definitely for sure, just think about that before you guys go with it. With this one, this is nice. We don't need the full bonuses of the Mercs, but it still works really well here. And yeah, we're going to open up with Panda's, we're going to open up with the ult here, just so we can get some safeguard and some buffs to the group. This is going to give us a big taunt as well, and that helps us out. And again, even despite being level 100, he does a fairly decent job here of trying to keep things fairly even keel for us. So that's kind of nice for us there. And on top of that as well, we do have like I said, a lot of synergy and a lot of damage here from Quasar. The most important thing is you want to take care of the Old Man Logan. That's really important because If he doesn't take a turn and he gets killed off before he takes a turn, he's not going to be able to get all those negatives on us, and that's why I like the Night Stalkers. They're so fast, and they do such massive amounts of percentage-based damage. So that's kind of why I like this team very, very much. Now, again, once this team goes, you want to make sure, you want to make sure you get your cooldowns and everything ready to go for the second wave drop, but it really doesn't matter for Old Man Logan because he gets so much energy from the hits. I have him as a striker here, so whenever he hits somebody that has the vulnerability tag, he gets that extra little ping there, so just make sure you guys have him as a striker here for extra bleeds. Of course, as well, do keep in mind that they're still going to get a ton of buffs thanks to Cannonball's passive, so just make sure you guys are being careful here as well. The Night Stalkers is fast and they do a lot of damage, but unfortunately they are quite a bit squishier, so just keep that in mind. But having Quasar and Old Man Logan here to quarterback this is nice. It's also nice because Quasar, for this one to work, you don't need to have his Awakened ultimate as well to do the to do his battlefield effect, right? You don't need to have it there, which is kind of nice. We can't really reverse it if we don't have it. But yeah, again, like I said, in this case, there's not a lot of speed manipulation other than when Jeff drops, so it really isn't really needed here. But use the ult if you can for the damage when you can here, and we use it here because, yeah, damage-wise. But remember, just like the Echoes of Abyss, his basic does a 20% whopping damage of drain, so that is also another combo there if you guys want to go that route. I just like the ult because the ult does apply the ability block, and it also heals him up as well. So it's kind of nice that we get some good amount of damage and some heals back in return. So again, we're going to Night Stalkers here, ult. Unfortunately, we did lose our Blade, but it doesn't really matter because when that next wave drops, and if there's no Old Man Logan, if there's no Old Man Logan, it really isn't too much of an issue here. And on top of that, you do see that Warlock is almost down, so that's also nice for us. He should just bleed out, I think, if I'm not mistaken here. But yeah, again, watch this basic. The basic takes a good chunk of their health, and then Old Man Logan's going to do what he's good at. He's going to shred. Yep, definitely for sure. Warlock's going to bleed out now. I had no doubts there. And yeah, I don't think Jeff's going to even take a turn, but the special here takes another whopping 20% chunk of their health. So of course we're going to use that 20% drain. Boom. And that's going to do a massive damage. And yeah, Jeff's going to probably bleed out as well. And hopefully you guys can see that here. And then yeah, I'm not gonna finish off the battle, but I hope you guys can see that here. We'll just kill off Jeff so you guys can see it, and then we will kind of pause it so you guys have it there. But like I said, very, very straightforward with this team. The only negative thing is it does sort of kind of limit your options later on if you do decide to use Quasar and Old Man Logan later on in a different section. So that's the only drawback to this lineup. Switching gears, we're going to be running the Odin with Absolute, and I do have Franklin in here just because he can apply the silence. But yeah, if you don't plan on pushing further than cell number 8 because of the Undying, then yeah, really just use whoever, right? But yeah, we've got Odin here as an option as well here in case you guys don't want to use your Old Man Logan or you don't want to use your Quasar. We can use Absolute A-Force here, and you only need the 3-piece for this to work. So again, you'll see here that we do take a couple of little hits at the start, but Franklin is nice really here because we can apply the steal on the buffs. So this is going to steal a bunch of buffs for us. And then Kahori, she's going to apply the negatives across the board for us. And I really love her special. Really, really shows just how good she is in this game mode. I'm even running not a complete team, right? So again, my Medusa's only level 95, but just her on-spawn passives to prevent some of the evasion and stuff like that at the start is really nice. And I think it's... was Death Proof or Immunity? I forget now. I don't know. She's there for the piece to work. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. I actually have Medusa beside Miss Marvel because she's squishy, and if she ends up dying, then it really doesn't matter all that much because yeah, she has that little extra little gap there to protect some of the characters. You can put Odin in there if you want, but yeah, for the most part, it's really just getting some good buffs here, some good immunity, some heals, and then yeah, I think you guys can see already here because of the way that this node was designed. If you don't have safeguard, it really makes it a pain for the other teams, right? And hence why having all these buffs, thanks to the Absolute A-Force, is absolutely required, right? And I think it would probably have been easier if we opened up with Franklin's ultimate. But yeah, it doesn't matter. You live and you learn. So it is what it is. Okay, so
and you don't necessarily
yeah,
need
that
Franklin.
one,
We're gonna try a different
the footage
combo
actually
here,
got interrupted, so
as well
apologies
without
there.
Franklin.
But just believe me when I tell you guys, it does work. If you also don't want to use Franklin, use Emma Frost. Emma Frost actually works better, I think, just because she has that ability block. But you guys will see that here. And yeah, I wanted to replay the footage with the Franklin one, but then I was like, you know what? Emma Frost does it better. So I think my point was kind of mute there. So apologies, didn't want to leave anyone astray there. But yeah, if you're able to use Emma Frost instead of Franklin, that works better because Emma Frost is that she's not going to be used in some of the other sections anyways. And you might still possibly use Fantastic Four if you go into cell number 9, if you get through Undying, the Undying cell 8. Then what you can do here is you can use Emma Frost instead, and you guys will see here that she is quite good. So same thing here. The absolute A-Force gives us quite a bit of a jump. We switch our Odin over to the other side now because he is kind of the tankiest out of the bunch, and I kind of learned from the last one where, you know what, let's just move Odin there so then it keeps Medusa alive longer, and then maybe she can do some extra little hits here and there. But yeah, you live and you learn after each fight and battle, and yeah, and hopefully you guys are able to, like I said, whether or not you use my teams or not, hopefully you guys are able to incorporate some of the strategies so that you guys can kind of get through it with your roster as well, depending on what characters you have or not have, right? So again, Odin just does a zap. The whole point of Odin getting through this node is just so if he survives long enough, he can just laser them to death, and you guys see that here, that he retaliates quite a bit, which is why we love him. And again, it will help if you guys also have, like I said, the 3-piece absolute, the safeguard, the defense up, the offense up. Everything just kind of adds together here. Next wave drops, same thing. Like I said, even if you have Franklin or if you don't have Franklin, really the bulk of the actual team itself is coming from the absolute A-Force. And yeah, once the next wave drops, really the biggest task here is just taking out Jeff. And like I said, even with a level 95 Medusa, she does bring a lot to the table just because of the passive bonuses she brings to both her teammates and her ability to her on spawn. I think you can't get death proof and evasion or something, right? I don't remember the exact tag on it because I don't play this team that much, but it works out quite well. And we'll cancel and exit out here and go into our last and final team. But hopefully you guys can see that. And like I said, Franklin does make this work. But yeah, Emma doesn't even really take a turn here. As you guys can kind of see, it's all literally just Odin. The Odin show. The Odin absolute show. So it doesn't matter who the 5th is. You could put in probably anybody, honestly. But yeah, hopefully helps. Hopefully makes sense. Let's quickly dive into the next one here. I'm going to cancel out of this guy here so we can jump into the next. Okay, so last and final section here I'm going to leave you guys with here is this Professor Xavier combo. We're going to do Xavier with Immortal. Actually, I guess not completely Immortal. 2-piece Immortal and then X-Men. I guess everybody's in X-Men. Everybody's in X-Men. So anyways, we throw the stun here. It doesn't really do anything, but it gets some bleeds. The only thing we're looking here is just to kind of get the initial speed boost there from Nightcrawler. Now, if you guys recognize this is a team that we did use actually in one of the previous cells when we had that. It was cell 5 where you had to use Brimstone, and this was the team that kind of did it. So again, I said, you know what? Let's give it a shot here with Xavier and see if this works. So Professor X would be a good slot in here because he makes things very easy. And if you're not using Xavier on the cell number 9, then of course as well it makes sense to use him here, and this team actually does a lot of good synergy with him because of the X-Men crew. And on top of that, because of the way that this team doesn't really incorporate a lot of characters of the ones that we used previously, this is an ideal one for people that are looking to save their Brimstones, their mercenaries, Quasar, Blastar, Night Stalkers. And this is kind of the team that I ran when I was doing my second run of it as well. And I did it with Liberty, but then I thought, you know what, Liberty is a war team. Let's use a team that's not a war team, and this is what I came up with. So hopefully you guys are able to see that, and hopefully it makes sense. Like I said, once you get a couple hits here, get the blinds going thanks to Xavier. Once Xavier takes his next turn, this will pretty much take off the safeguard, and it doesn't kill everybody, but you can really see just how resilient this team is, right? Nightcrawler will do his thing here. He's going to give it a little boost to the team. But yeah, you can see here that Warlock is just absolutely on steroids. It takes so much to take him down. And yeah, and Storm's got her ult now. She's ready to go here. We're going to save that actually when the next wave drops. But yeah, you can use the special there, get the defense down going on Warlock. My goodness gracious, it's like she is a monster. So we'll throw the ult there. That's going to get a couple pings, and that should take him out. Really solidifying just how annoying these new mutants are, especially in Crucible. Do not like playing them against in Crucible. And although they are a bit outdated and they are going to be required as well for the Storm Tower, I still do not want to build mine up because we just don't need to. We don't need to waste our resources right now on an outdated team, and we're still going to get the 7-star unlock on Storm as it is, so it's fine. So we'll throw the ult here that we've been saving. That's gonna miss, it looks like. Didn't want to do anything else, and then yeah, we'll just basic here, get some bleeds across, and yeah, Professor Xavier should for the most part be able to just handle these guys. This next wave is not as bad as the first wave. It's just getting to this wave is the problem, and hence why people have to figure out creative ways to use Odin and Xavier. And I try to not use as much war teams as possible on these runs, but my goodness, it is a war design tower, so of course the war teams are going to shine more than most. But there you guys have it. Hopefully it gives you guys an idea here of the different combinations I did use. And again, every time Xavier gets to his turn or whatever, then he just causes one of them to attack each other. So Jeff's dead. And yeah, I will be very surprised here if we don't win, because yeah, we've got pretty much a full roster. This was probably, out of all the character teams, I think this was probably, in my opinion, the funnest one, just because we have lots going on with the X-Men, the stuns, and the you know, the speed ups and the filling on the speed bar, and Xavier's here and he's blinding, and yeah, very fun to play if you guys are looking for a team with Xavier. But hopefully it gives you guys some options, like I said. And yeah, I will just get down to the last guy here, and then we will cut the footage. And then hopefully you guys are able to take some of the teams that I've already incorporated into your guys' tool, you know, your toolbox. And then hopefully you guys can work something else with, you know, work it out with your roster, see how it goes, see if it can get you guys climbing further in the tower, or if you just want to get the cell 8, you know, try cell 8 out after 7 and see how, you know, how the Undying one is, with the Undying, sorry. Or we can just be using this one for future, right? For when it does come back. Because like I said already, I have a very strong feeling that they're going to bring this back here. And they're not just going to be shelving it, right? And there you guys have it. That is all the combinations that I use. Again, Night Stalkers with Quasar and Mercs, Brimstone plus Daemon, and Brimstone plus Quasar. I don't know why I said Daemon. We had the 3-piece Absolute with Odin. Didn't really matter who the 5th was, so just keep that in mind. Whoops, messing around with mic here, apologies. So yeah, didn't really matter who the 5th was. Emma or Franklin would be a solid choice just because of the abilities they bring. And then finally, we settled the last, you know, the last example with our X-Men Xavier team. And again, no level 110s other than Xavier, but of course, yeah, I imagine if you had a level 105 Xavier, I don't think it would make that much of a difference. I think you would probably get the job done regardless. So that is it, guys. That is cell number 7. A couple ways to do it. Hopefully helps you guys out. Let me know in the comments below if you guys used something different that worked and was able to help you push further. Sharing that information, obviously, to the community is always a great asset. Other than that, guys, always appreciate you tuning in. Always appreciate your guys' comments. And I will see you guys in the next one.